Like what happened? All right, everyone. Welcome to the Sabre Show Live, where we control our own narratives to have the conversations that we need to have in order to empower our community. I'm your host, Miss Sabre.
I'm Yada.
Mike. Jay Pizzy.
Yes, and here we go with today's show. Shout out to all the people on YouTube who constantly comment and like all of our videos. It's a couple of y'all I want to shout out really quickly. But first, I want everybody to just kind of introduce themselves and their background a little bit, just to get people to know, when you tell your perspective, like where y'all coming from. Anybody can start.
JP, born and raised in PG. I'm not a black apologist, but I love black people.
But where you from, though?
I was born here. Born in D.C., raised in Maryland.
Where your folks from, though?
Oh, I got a Haitian background. Background, militant father, loving mother.
All right, that's enough.
All right, cool. All right.
Okay, Yada.
I'm Yada. I'm black. From here. DMV. All of it.
All of it.
Literally, though. I got a really weird mixed background. I have a Muslim father and a Christian mother, so yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
That wasn't necessary.
Mike?
Yeah, Mike. I'm from Forestville. I protect and serve for a living. That's what I do. As far as from, my mother from Northeast, my father from Northwest, so.
You're from the North.
I'm from
You're
Maryland.
from D.C.? You're from Maryland?
I'm from Forestville. My folks from
Oh, yeah,
DC,
you did say that, yeah.
My whole family live right here in Maryland.
Okay. Y'all know I'm Sabre, and I'm from here, PG County, born in D.C., of course, but
Who wasn't?
definitely right. That's what we were like. I'm from D.C. because I was born. I'm like, everybody was born in D.C. But anyway, I'm from PG County. I don't know much more than that as far as this other areas surrounding. But yeah, this is where I'm from, and I'm a barber. For all the people who didn't know, duh. But anyway, white nationalist, thug, race soldier. Yes, that is their new name. What's been going on in Virginia? Because it's really getting wild out there. Y'all, please fill us in on what's been going on out there.
Okay, well, they have a statue in Charlottesville, which is UVA town, of Robert E. Lee that they want to tear down. It's been there since like 1924 or something like that. They want it gone. The white folks are not happy with that. The white supremacists are not happy with that. So they had started a white supremacist rally down there, and they were met with their opposition, which was the counter-protesters, and then it kind of just went left from there because counter-protesters want the statue gone. It's obviously a lot of Confederate landmarks are getting, like torn down or suggesting that they get torn down, and I guess they're getting upset about it. And it's been vandalized a whole lot. People have put Black Lives Matter on the bottom of it. They try to clean it up. It happens. But it kind of got violent when the two groups started bumping heads, literally, and clashing because they're showing up at the same places. And the police are really not intervening. Like, the white supremacists are expecting the police to protect them. The police are like standing down. So they all just bumping heads down there. But it kind of turned into this whole neo-Nazi thing because you got these white guys down there with these Nazi, bands on their arms. Right. And
dressing
they're
like Trump.
Slinging Nazi slurs, and everything. Like, they think they're Hitler down there.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And so it's getting violent. Like, someone drove a car through a crowd of counter-protesters, and a woman was killed. Like, 19 people got injured. He, hit some people, then just hit reverse and peeled off backwards and hit some more people. So,
it's just crazy because a lot of people, when, especially me, and on this show, we constantly bring up race, and that does have a lot to do. Race, first of all, there's no area in life that race doesn't affect. And when you bring up race, people like, oh, white people, they're not thinking about y'all. The young people coming up, they're not thinking about that. It's the older people, they're dying off. Like, it's not like how it used to be. And
they raised hate mongers, so you can't say, oh, they're dying off. If I instill all of my, issues with that into my children, they're going to carry that on. And then it becomes a way of life, and it's systemic at this point. It's not even just, these, once the, the baby boomers are dead,
Right, because that picture that I saw of the protests, all them dudes look young. Like,
yeah,
these
are
not
20-something old ass dudes. These are dudes that
young.
are like 20s, 30s, maybe 40s. These are not. It's not all these old, decrepit.
Right.
Like we think it
skeletons
is.
Out there. These are these. This is the youth, and this is like millennial age. Like this is not just old people. So. You can't say that. Oh yeah, that is racism's not dying with them because it's been going on for generations. It should have died a long time ago. If you want to be honest, it hasn't died.
Well, the basis of racism is white people's fear of genetic survival, as Dr. Francis Cress Welsing always talked about. Rest in peace. But black people, if we all made it with white people, they could literally be extinct. They are the most recessive genes, and that is why. And right now, it's a lot of articles coming out saying that they're dying faster than they're being born. So a lot more of this boldness, other than Trump and stuff like that, that's where a lot of it's coming from. And a lot of people saying, you gotta fight the hate with love, and I don't really agree with that at all because racism, and my boyfriend said this recently, he said that it's like cancer, and you don't fight love with cancer. You cut that shit the fuck out.
Exactly.
Kill this with kindness. Like you can't.
You don't.
Right.
You can't. I'm not gonna love you into loving me. Like
Kevin Hart wrote something like that. Love will always win.
Fuck all that.
Okay, that
Fuck
sounds really
that.
good on like what I'm saying, on a popsicle stick or something.
Right.
Exactly.
That's real cute on a Laffy Taffy wrapper. But let's be real. Like no, it doesn't cut it in real life with a situation like this where these sort of things get violent. It's not just about you feel some type of way, I feel some type of way. Okay, cool. We have to coexist, and these things get violent. And when they get violent, that's when it becomes problematic. Because
one day
you're putting my safety in jeopardy. And you're in this. You have an issue with something that we cannot control. That's crazy.
Right, and it's like.
Sorry. Let me not be black real quick. Like,
right, like one day this whole thing is gonna come full circle, and it's gonna be nasty. It's gonna be real nasty. All like the minority groups. It's
the funny part about violence is this country was founded on violence.
Violence,
they always act surprised when it happens.
Or try to pin it on us.
The country was taken by force.
Right.
They try to you
raped
and pillage this land from natives, and then you act like, oh my God, like you guys are so violent. Like come on, man.
I discovered it.
But
that's the
it
case.
kills me
discover
because
somebody's car outside.
None of us are natives. That's the crazy thing. None of us are natives. So what we're not going to do is sit here and have this issue with this, go back to Africa mentality. Like
go back to Europe.
We were chilling. Like exactly. Go back to Europe. We're not natives. You're not native. We're not native. Like let's
somebody brought
call
us
it what it is.
By force.
By
force.
Always using that force. To even get us into this position and then act like we're the problematic, demographic is where my issue comes in. It's like, come on, man. Like someone mentioned earlier, in the midst of all this and discussing Charlottesville, how 73% of mass murders since like the 80s or 70s or something has been white men.
Exactly.
So literally when they're showing these screenshots and these still shots of these people in protest, this is the face of terrorism. Mm-hmm. This is the face.
Yes.
But you're like, oh, well, more than 50% of all murders are committed by black people, like Slim.
Right.
Can we not?
Right.
Acknowledge the fact that we're not mass murdering for fun. You know what I'm saying? We're not going out here and killing a whole bunch of people. We're not driving our car through a group of protesters for shits and giggles. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to condone any kind of murder, but 10 times out of 9, you got black people murdering other people. That's a conflict between those people.
Exactly.
Right.
It's always
justified, but there's an issue. I'm not going to a job and shooting 1,300 people because I got fired.
Right.
And none of these 1,300 people fired me.
Or starting a riot because your team wins. Like, people talk
Exactly.
about, justifying these white people out here, freedom of speech. And mind you, nothing is going on except genetic annihilation. You just got to face your fact. Like, you have recessive genes. It is what it is. We
not make us to be the subhuman race, but it's
right.
It's you. If
right.
you want to be honest, that's why you're in your feelings right now.
But when we riot or really just protest, it's because of someone getting mistreated by the police or something like that. There's always a cause for
issue.
it.
Like,
This
it's not my
came out the
team
blue.
lost the Super Bowl. Let's go break some shit up. This is like legitimate causes. Like, stop killing us.
Right.
Our lives matter, and you combat that. Like, we're tripping, but you can go and flip cars and start fires because your hockey team won. And you call them, oh yeah,
and that gets no media coverage.
And it's like, look how you when it does get the slightest bit, look how they label them.
They're passionate college kids,
passionate youth, and all this other stuff. But we protest the fact that you keep killing us, and you basically then you put us on trial for our own murders, and you call us thugs. You call everything under the sun to try to make us out to be these degenerates when.
It's not us.
It's not, and it's justified.
But my whole thing is they're fighting because they feel like they're losing the country. What the fuck are you losing? You guys dominate where it matters. Politics. Y'all dominate.
Well, actually, they don't dominate where it really matters, which is life. And they don't.
Well, I mean, besides that, but they dominate politics. Like, they're powerful people.
I feel you. And even though they're technically a global minority, they control most of what's going on. But at the end of the day, in order for them to maintain some type of substance, they have to, because, like I said, people with melanin descent are just stronger genetically. Like, we can literally mix with anything and make it black. They can't. Even if they mix with an Asian, they still the child's gonna look a little Asian.
Right.
They mix with Latino, they gonna look a little. They gonna look Spanish.
It always dilutes that half out. So it's like you being so recessive. It makes them. They feel like they have to have this big roar because they feel inferior and they're aware of their many inferiorities. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. That's exactly what they're doing. They're overcompensating. They want to have this big bark and no bite because. That's what you have to do. Like, you want to, instill these fear tactics. Like, you're so much better than all these other minority races. When the reality is, you are scared that because as a collectively, as in like minorities, whites, you're the minority.
Yes.
If you want to go individual blacks, Asians, then the demographic changes. But as a whole, it's you.
Well, the reason why a lot of people have this misconception that they are the majority is because they've allowed other groups to classify as white, i.e. Asians, i.e. White Hispanics, because you got white Hispanics and then Hispanics that look like us. Right. So, or whoever, Middle Eastern people, whatever. They're white. They're allowed to classify as white. I know a lot of Hispanics classify as white.
They make them on a sheets of paper. Like, you have to. Just like we do. We have to classify either we're Hispanic or non-Hispanic.
Right.
They have to check white, and then they have to check Hispanic if they're a
they
white
have
Hispanic.
That, exactly.
Like a Dominican can get away with putting black, but then they have to put Hispanic.
Right.
If someone from El Salvador or Mexico,
they put white. And they allow that. I mean, don't get me wrong. When it comes to, protecting other white people, they're going to look out for their own. But on paper, on the census, they allow a lot of other races who appear to be white to contribute to their numbers. So then they look like they're bigger than what they are, and people like us feel like a minority, and we're not. Right. People of melanin descent are the majority. Clearly, you see black people in every country. Mm-hmm. Even if they're not shown on the forefront,
they're there.
They are there.
Right? Because globally, white people are less than 10%, right?
It's something crazy like that.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
And then I heard something. I was watching Tariq's show. He was talking about how there's an article saying that their sperm count is down, and I'm serious.
All around, man.
That's why they wilding like that. Like, we won't let them take over. See, the thing that they don't realize is they're afraid that we're going to do the same thing to them that they did to us. But that's the thing. We don't even want to oppress anybody. You know what I'm saying? We don't even have that. We don't have that mentality as African people. We don't have the mentality to want somebody to be oppressed or disrespected at a restaurant or saying this is a black woman.
We don't the shit. Honestly,
just go about. Let us do us. Don't burn down our Black Wall Street. Just keep it moving.
Right.
I was thinking. I was at an Aunt Pizza the other day, and I saw this white lady come in. I didn't know if she was a customer. She didn't look like she had any food or whatever. And they have codes on their doors. And they were like, oh, they told her to, code to the door. And I was just thinking, like, if that was a black lady, and they were like, oh, it's for customers only. This is not like, a public restroom or something. And then I was thinking, like, what if it was reversed? I wouldn't even want people to be discriminated because they're white. Like, I just wouldn't give a fuck. Like, you know what I mean? But just the fact that is in them is just so sickening to me.
We don't have that level. It's just like being being insecure.
Yeah.
In a relationship or something like that, and you feel like you have to tear everyone else down to build you up. When truthfully, one doesn't have anything to do with the other.
Right.
Like, us doing us, it doesn't take away from you doing you, but you feel like you have to break us down because you know what we're capable of. You know what we're the potential in us as a people, and you're scared of it.
Right.
It's like they say, it's no fun when the rabbit got the gun, and they don't want the rabbit to get the gun. So that's really what it is. They feel like, oh, we given the opportunity, oh, we doing all of that shit, and we're not really concerned about that. We're just trying to flourish and prosper and make sure our future generations have the same opportunities, that your future generations have. Like, and it's like, for you to not want to see a group of people get ahead for no other reason than because they're black, that's disgusting.
This country wasn't designed for us to get ahead.
Absolutely not.
True.
It's very systemic. It's always been built against us. That's why, we could go on and on about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Back in the early, 1900s, and the things that have been done specifically to hinder us, while they get ahead and make it seem like they're superior because it's like, oh, well, we passed down property for generations. I'm like, yeah, well, you were getting government-backed loans back in the 30s and 40s that we weren't allowed to get. That's how you got that generational property to pass down from generation to generation. That's how we got projects.
Yes.
That's where it came from. So it's like, let's not make it seem like, oh, we were just slacking and you guys were just on it and we're inferior.
Everything was built against us, right?
Or swim. A lot of us still can't swim.
Oh, yeah. You got that fear of water from
Hey, I don't know, though, because Hispanics, I don't know, is that a thing with Hispanics? Do they know how to swim?
Hell yeah, because they was swimming in.
They got that, that's what I'm saying. Like, that ain't scarred them.
They was coming from Cuba and all, they was swimming ass over here on rafts and doors.
I just think
they could get their hands on.
I think it's because black people, we don't really like to put ourselves at risk like white people. Like, it's already a risk just to be black. You know what I'm saying?
You heard about Titanic, you feel like, nope, not
hell no.
Not playing with the water.
Exactly.
Like, you out here in the trenches and you go drown.
See, white people, they don't really.
Out like a bitch.
Right.
Drowning, you couldn't swim.
See, white people, they don't really have to. They not really. Their lives aren't in danger like that, so they don't have that. They don't need that suspense.
And that's why they walk into traffic with no hesitation.
Okay.
People watch, right? They live so carefree.
Yes.
You know the lights green. No. Like you.
They play with alligators.
They live like they have a bank of lives waiting for them.
Right.
I'll buy me another one. Right.
I have like 3 more lives in the bank.
Yeah, like nah, you can't live like
that. You get mauled by a lion for doing stupid shit, and then then everybody want to kill the lion and shit. Like, no, you should have left that man alone. He was minding his business. I don't know why you thought you was gonna play patty cake with him. Right. He fucked you up. That's what you get.
That's funny as shit.
Life is dangerous. You need to proceed with caution. Like, just like anybody else. They think they're life proof. They think they're life proof. Honestly, they're walking the street like the pedestrians have the right of way, sweetie. The light is green. I'm not above hitting you, and I will keep going. Like, you know what? Might back up, speed bump your ass, so it's no witnesses. Like,
she doesn't mean that.
Whoa,
she doesn't mean that.
She's
joking. Totally joking.
I'm joking, but I'm just saying, like,
you gotta say no.
I feel you.
After that shit.
Somebody else literally might not be above that. You can't be playing with people like that. Y'all,
I feel you,
girl.
Me lose that angle a little bit. So, what about our boy Kaepernick? Because speaking of racism and white supremacy and black people systematically being shut down and shut up, and he's one of the people who stand up for us, and I feel like we really need to support him. And let's just come up with some ways that we can really support Kaepernick.
Does he have a GoFundMe? I'm not even trying to be.
Well, I don't think he hurting for money, but
he's definitely not hurting for money.
Hungry at all.
I mean,
the man's made over $50 million.
But then he had pledged to donate at least $1 million to various causes, right? And he had got up to the last I checked, which wasn't like today or anything. Mm-hmm. He was already up at like $700,000. So I'm pretty sure he's already met and surpassed that by now. So obviously, if you ain't hurting too much, you still putting up the mills.
Just making sure, because I know how football players are with money.
But I know that he did say that I think he was done kneeling, so I think he's just going to find other avenues to get his point across. So maybe kind of just explore those, see what he has going on as far as like what actions he's taking outside of the NFL to do, to still, meet his goals or his objectives.
I don't know why he's going to stop kneeling though. Like that's you got to keep doing that.
Well, you see, Marshawn did.
Marshawn sat down.
Yeah, he sat down. So he's not kneeling. He sat all the way down.
I'm gonna explain it like this, right? So
Marshawn Lynch from
the Oakland Raiders.
From the Oakland Raiders.
I'm gonna explain it like this: why Kaepernick is kind of in the situation. So people talking about boycotting the NFL. Oh,
yeah. Go ahead.
All right. The issue is if you took a player like Cam Newton or somebody who's a superstar player, very productive, and they did it, it wouldn't be made as such a big deal because their value is still so high. Kaepernick played on a bad team.
Okay.
He wasn't very productive. So they feel like they could do without him. So you take somebody like Cam Newton, superstar player.
Yeah.
You need him.
But he's a super coon.
But let's be real though.
I'm talking about his
But I don't want to
production.
downplay Cap like he trash because they're absolutely blackballing him. Like, come on now, Jay Cutler's back.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he's not good.
It's not about talent.
But that's what I'm saying is people want to be combative about whether or not he's being blackballed. He's absolutely being blackballed, and it's not because of now they want to bring up he wasn't that good. Slim, they brought Jay Cutler got a job.
I think
I'm not saying he was bad.
He's definitely he's definitely better than Cutler though. So.
I agree.
I think that he's saying basically with all the controversy, and he was going against the grain of what they want.
No, absolutely.
There's a risk versus reward.
What's crazy is but the reality it's like, we're willing to get rid of it because you because you had some controversy and we don't feel like you're good enough for us to deal with it. But you brought Jay Cutler back, dude. Like he's trash.
To send a message.
There's a risk versus reward spectrum, right? So he brings people who. People don't care for that. People don't want him to do that. Okay, whatever. They feel like if they sign him, all the flack that they're going to get is not worth the reward that they're going to get out of signing him.
But the reality is, are people going to stop watching football because you signed Kaepernick?
Absolutely not.
And see, that's where my issue is. Honestly, you could say the same thing about the Eagles when they signed Vic. Oh, I'm never going to. You know what? It's people who had seasons tickets to the Eagles games who tore them tickets up. You know what the Eagles did? They sold them season tickets because he made double the money. So you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you don't want to go? Okay, but you already paid for them. Guess what? You're not getting a refund. I'm going to resell your seats and keep it moving. So, and that's a felon. That's a whole felon.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't get any more controversial than a felon being on your team.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the main one speaking out against, I won't say against him, but they're not exactly speaking out in support of Kaepernick. Mm-hmm. But
you know why? As a black man, you can commit a crime, but you can't make white people feel uncomfortable. That's what
he did to dogs made white people feel super uncomfortable.
But it was a crime. I'm talking about like you're hitting them like all white people take it personal. Right. You get what I'm saying? Because they feel like the first thing you say when you say something about that, they're gonna say, what's their first response? I'm not racist.
Well, then if it don't apply, let it fly.
See, but they're not looking at it like that, especially when they own the team. He's being blackballed.
They're looking at it like they don't want other people to start standing up for black people. 70% of the NFL
and that's
is
the problem.
Black.
It's like you got 70% black league, and you act like these people can't do something as simple and as non-problematic in the overall spectrum of things as kneeling.
So the biggest issue is people not boycotting the NFL. What if the players? That's where it is. All your black players didn't play. Mm-hmm. That's gonna send a message.
Absolutely, and that's
or they all kneeled and they all sat down.
Should be targeted. I'm not even talking about just us not watching. I mean, like them in the league. In NBA and they lockouts and all kinds of stuff. Like why we can't transition that same.
See, but they looking at it like this too. Okay, now they see what happens when you kneel. Everybody's value isn't as high. They're looking at it like this could be my only shot to make enough money that I can support myself. Because if I kneel and they cut me, yes, it's wrong, but at the end of the day, I don't have a job.
But see, I understand that, but there's always power in numbers. So it's like when is everybody going to get cut? You're going to cut 70% of the league? I sincerely doubt it.
All right, so everybody works, right? Everybody's had a business meeting at work. Mm-hmm. Have anybody ever been the person to raise their hand and speak their piece? Now you sitting with your coworkers, and everybody's sitting in a circle and they bitching about the issues. Mm-hmm. But when the boss come in and ask what's the issue, nobody got nothing to say.
I do every time.
See, you're a Kaepernick.
Outlier.
Every time.
Let's just use it like this: if we're all sitting and the boss come in and got an issue, and you raise your hand, and then he says, "Mike, you got a problem," and I'm like,
and see, that's the problem. It's like all of you. If all of you, and it's just that solidarity. Mm-hmm. If all of them spoke, that whole group of employees spoke their issue, you'd probably be way more impactful and way less likely to have an issue with discipline or conflict afterwards than if that one person is like, oh, I can target you, I'm going to let y'all chill, but I can target you. But when it's a whole bunch of them, it's like, are you going to suspend everybody from work?
Right. So that whole thing, and what you're piggybacking off what you're saying, Yada, it reminds me of slavery. It could be 500 slaves on the plantation and maybe 10 overseers and slave owners, and because of the psychological fear for years and generations, nobody would start the uprise. Nobody would say, okay, it's 500 of us. It's only 10 of them. Mm-hmm. We can literally all get together and we can overpower them. But you're going to always have those coons. Those coons who say, I'm going to tell on y'all if y'all even think about it or whatever. And that's who your Cam Newton, Ray Lewis, Michael Vick, they got these dudes. And I really think that they have to wake up. Like, if everybody, like you said, decided we're not going to play or we're all going to sit, like a couple of them, it can't be 10, 20 guys in the league because they can be just like Kaepernick. It has to be all of them together. And I just feel like that is the first way. And if they don't do that, that's when we boycott the shit.
All three of them dudes that you just named, Cam Newton, he was at Florida at first, University of Florida, got kicked out for stealing laptops. Mm-hmm. Got a second chance at Auburn, did something, and now all of a sudden, whatever. Ray Lewis, as an NFL player.
Murderer.
Right.
Got off.
Right.
These white people been good to me.
Oh, exactly.
You should be quiet.
They on that step and fetch shit right now.
Mike Vick.
Yes.
Same thing.
Bro, that was like my childhood idol.
That hurt, too.
It was.
I'm an Eagles fan. And that hurt. That hurt to see with the flack that he got. Because honestly, I feel like white people tend to put more value on animals' lives than doing black people's lives.
Absolutely.
So
for dogs.
You feel sometimes it doesn't negate the fact that it's wrong, but the fact that you see people go to that extreme for animals, and you like, but when we get killed maliciously, it's like, well, maybe it shouldn't have been ABC. Like, what?
Right.
So that kind of threw me off. But it's the same thing. It's that criminal history or that that past, and it feel like, oh, I got this chance to redeem myself. Let me be, Mr. Step and Fetch It for them. And it's like, you probably are better off just not saying shit. Like, just be quiet because you're being counterproductive. Your comments don't help. And and Shannon Sharp had the chopper loaded. Like, he was ready to go because it's so much. I just want to say ignorance behind what's being said. And it's like, I get it that you think that you're being helpful. The reality is you're not. You're telling this man he need to cut his hair.
Yeah, the hair.
Like, his hair had nothing to do with the fact that he's being blackballed.
But that wasn't the thing, though. The thing that got me with Vic is that you're giving a man advice on how to present himself after committing a felony. Is that a felony that Vic did?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Kaepernick didn't break a law at all.
All he did was fucking kneel.
He kneeled. But then Ray Lewis was telling him he need to pipe down. He need to be more quiet. It was a silent protest, baby.
All he did was kneel.
Baby.
That's what I'm saying.
It was silent. My man took a knee and chilled.
Right.
Took a knee and was peace. Chilling.
Right. The point of all this is that us as black people, we have to start supporting those who go out on a limb for us. Absolutely. Or else other people who like, well, damn, I really do want to stand up for my people. But as soon as I do, they will leave me high and dry as hell. Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, Kaepernick has an event. Let me see. It is Wednesday, August the 23rd. I really want to go out and support. I got a couple clients that already booked for that day from like out of town stuff. But I really got to maneuver. I want to maneuver some things in my schedule to fit that in. It's at 5 o'clock. It's in New York, which is 4-hour drive from here. We're in PG County, Maryland. That's like 4 hours there. But if you can make it out there just to, and I'm one of those black people who don't really believe in protest like that. I feel like we're past that. Like the civil rights movement, that was the last time that it got some type of clout. No, no, it's just like our action got to come from economics. You know what I'm saying? I feel like
we got to pull that black dollar out of these businesses.
Because we have like $1 trillion like spending power.
Which we should call investing power because
really it's like obscenely ridiculous. It's like we don't believe in the power of our dollar, which is the worst part because we're not willing to make those those creature comfort sacrifices. So these are the things that we enjoy every day. We're not willing to sacrifice that for the greater good, and that's where it's problematic at, because we should be supporting them.
And then even when you start to do it, you kind of like, okay, I'm suffering, but I'm gonna do it. And then you looking around and ain't nobody else doing it. You just like, what am I doing it for? Ain't nobody else.
You're suffering inside.
We gonna stop wearing Jordans and Nikes. And it was like, okay, cool. What are we gonna wear? We gonna wear Adidas, and then you see your homeboy the next day with a whole Gucci suit on. You like,
you can't. We gotta be consistent.
What are you doing, buddy?
Exactly.
We have to be consistent. We have to show them that just like the Jews, just like the LGBT community, just like other oppressed communities with some type of organization behind them, we have to start to form that. We have to speak up for people who speak up for us. We need a Kaepernick. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody who has influence, because we can do it, but, we don't have the influence yet where it impacts a lot of people. People like that, we have to support them. So the event, just so we don't skip over that, it's called United We Stand, Rally for Colin Kaepernick, Wednesday, August 23rd at 5 p.m. at the NFL headquarters, 345 Park Avenue, New York. So if you are in the surrounding areas, please go to that. I really hope I can make that. I do have a suggestion though. I've been thinking, I was like, okay, how can we kind of like boycott the NFL? Because let's be realistic, niggas love the NFL, and many are not going to stop watching, and we have to be real about that. Everybody's not going to be on code. Everybody's not willing to make that sacrifice. But one of the suggestions that I would make is fucking don't watch it on. Like, first of all, everybody got a Fire Stick, right? Most people have a Fire Stick. You can upload that part on there. I'm not saying, I wouldn't suggest doing anything illegal, but if you have a Fire Stick, you never know. You might have sports capability or compatibility or whatever. I don't know. But I would say that. Also, doesn't matter if you watch it live or if you watch the playback or something like that, or catch it on online or something. Are there ways?
But like YouTube views and all that stuff, it all accounts. It all accounts as like ratings, so it's still going to get some kind of.
And that may be true, but don't they spend the big dollars for ad revenue on the live games?
Yeah, on the live games. Yeah.
So they spend money for ads on YouTube, but it's nowhere near the stuff on the live games. So we can cut back on it somehow. I feel like we just have to come up with creative ways. I'm not a big football fan, so all you major football fans out there, let me know what are some things that we can do to kind of, I guess, repress their total income. You know what I'm saying? That they normally make.
So you looking at it financially?
That's where it hurts.
I mean, that's definitely a good place to start.
Don't buy no new jerseys this year unless it's Kaepernick. You know what I'm saying? And even then,
are they still making his jerseys?
I don't know if they got any old ones. I don't know.
It's just.
One thing we could stop buying jerseys and just stop watching altogether. That's gonna be.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen, but we can transition.
I'm not gonna lie.
You look like you about to go watch a game today.
But the thing is, I played football. I played college football. I got friends who in the NFL that I grew up with. I know how hard they work to get there. I'm gonna support them, even if it's not. I'm watching.
Shout out to them. Shout out to them. But if they don't, if they black and they don't stand with and they don't support Kaepernick as a whole, we gonna have to fuck up them ratings. We gonna let the players do it first. Give them an opportunity to do give the players the opportunity to do it first.
That's where it has to start. It's the same thing when people look and say the police department. It has to start with the officers to turn around and hold each other accountable. It's the same thing. Us watching doesn't affect what they gonna do. Right. Period. Because guess what? The NFL been around before we was alive, and it's gonna be around because it's sports. And but the thing is, white people could sit at home and be racist Monday through Saturday, but on Sunday when they team playing, they supporting. Right. It don't matter. Right. The thing is, when those players, if I keep doing it.
You good?
If all those players do the same thing, if they all stick together, it's a unity thing. It's the same way we're trying to unify to do something. Mm-hmm. If they do it, that can really send a message. Period.
Absolutely, because they're 70% of the league. So if you could even get. 10%. If you could get, you know what I'm saying? You don't even need the whole 70%. But it just has to be enough to be substantive. Like, it has to be a sizable amount of these people that are willing to, these black players that are willing to sit their ass down. Like, you know what? Nah,
and you know
I'm
what?
not rocking.
The white players too. That's not, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's
because
cause, like, absolutely.
they have that it has to be that way too.
I think that would even send a louder message.
It would, because guess what? They're standing together as teammates. Because I can't say that I love y'all, you my homie, whatever.
Right.
And I don't sympathize with what you're going through.
Right, especially when right is right and wrong is wrong. At the end of the day, now if he was doing something that was just so dead wrong that it's like, okay, right is right, wrong is wrong. Okay, you might have a cause or a message behind it, but if you're wrong, you're wrong. Right. So if people don't want to support that wrong, that's different. But I mean, my man taking a knee here, what's the problem? For what's happening to him, his means doesn't justify this end result at all, whatsoever. He didn't do anything radical.
All he did was literally kneel.
Kneeled and he was quiet.
On top of the fact that he broke no rules.
He broke
no.
Right.
That's the whole beauty of the situation. Like, it is his right as an American, since they like to use that. He can
freedom of expression.
Period.
It's just like that comparison that I keep saying. You see all these neo-Nazi, white supremacist radicals out. Thugs, let's call them what they are. Out in Charlottesville with their little tiki torches and shit, like they're trying to fight flies and mosquitoes at the same time. But this is freedom of speech. This is what they're fighting. They claim they're fighting for freedom.
What freedom?
Really?
That's what
you ever
white
oppressed.
Male freedom.
That was my whole point. They have
the irony in that entire sentence right there. White male freedom. If you don't get your seriously, but what he's doing is problematic. Like, what?
All he did was kneel.
Now when you got players who literally have been accused and charged of sexual assault.
You got whole rapists and crackheads and all these players associations, murderers, all types of shit. But this man take a knee and he is the biggest issue ever. Like, the logic completely escapes me.
Sit there and be quiet.
They want you to fall in line, and I don't feel like that's okay because he did not break it. It was like, what the fuck is this at-will employment? Like, what is this? He's a contract employee.
So it kind of goes to that age-old question. If there's a burning flag and there's a burning black man, who's going to get the attention first?
The goddamn flag.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
People, they wouldn't look past why he was doing it. They were looking at it like, he's disrespecting the flag. How?
First of all,
he didn't kneel on the flag. He just kneeled.
First of all,
so that's one.
Flag. That's the same flag that be flapping in the air in the background when all them black folks was getting hanged as slaves. Basically. I don't fuck that flag. If we're being honest, that flag can eat a dick. You're not when you go and you fight a war, you're not defending your flag. You're defending all these freaking people that live in your country. What's the flag doing for me? The flag was like, oh, I'm offended. Flapping. Oh my God, like I can't believe he tried to play me like that. Sis. No, the flag is a flag. It's an inanimate object. Fuck that flag. At the end of the day. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Right. It's literally just a flag.
Like, and the people who are offended are the ones who are the closet racists. Or they might be very, you know what I'm saying?
Be overt.
Very overt about it. But especially them. They're the main ones. Because it's hitting you right here in the field. You know what I'm saying? It's catching you right in your chest. Because literally, like, if it don't apply, you can just go ahead and let that shit fly. Like, and not have it, hey, he won nil. That's his business. It's his right. Now you don't have that right.
But, okay, so I want to ask this question too. People say, it's unrealistic for black people to, boycott the NFL. We love the NFL. We love, talking about it, watching our favorite players, betting on it, whatever. But certain teams that Kaepernick went to go work out with, like the Ravens and stuff like that, one of the main reasons why they said they didn't, acknowledge him or want to sign him is because, guess what? Their white fans said, we will not come, we will not buy the tickets, we will not do XYZ that financially supports their team. Right.
Yes, they
will.
So
because of that, because the white people love the NFL too, but they are willing, for hatred, to stop supporting financially, which makes them buckle and say, okay, well, we don't want all that.
Realistically, I don't believe that they'll stop.
They're willing to threaten.
They're willing to make that threat, and they're willing to take it seriously.
So why is it that we aren't doing that? Why are we not willing to do
Because
that?
I don't feel like they would take us.
They're not going to take us.
I don't feel like they're going to take us all the way serious. To be quite frank and honestly, I don't feel like people are really willing to walk it like they talk it. Should it go to that? So they're like, I'm not even going to put the bluff out there. Like,
which is why it should start, like you guys said, it should start with the players. At least 10% of the players, if that 10% would kneel, it would send a bigger message.
No. It need to be all of them. It needs to be all of them.
Yeah.
It won't be all of them, but that's what I'm saying. Like, at least start with 10.
Well, you saw the attention that just Marshawn as one player got. But the thing is this. Risk versus reward spectrum. It's Marshawn Lynch. They're not going to give him... Marshawn is a superstar.
He absolutely is.
And they know...
But he's also had a lot of... He's had, I won't call it controversy, but he's ruffled...
Marshawn don't give a fuck.
He's ruffled... Yeah, he definitely has... I don't give a fuck in his cup. And he's real live ruffled those feathers before. So for him, it's like, and I'm going to keep doing it, and you're not going to check me.
Richard Sherman speaks out all the time.
Absolutely.
Right. They need more superstar players to do that. But the thing is, those are two people. Right. The league is full.
And it's sick because those are the main ones who really would not have the Kaepernick experience, in doing so, because they're not willing to sacrifice you to calm some people down. Realistically, I don't feel like the white folks are really willing to, we're not going to buy the tickets. A lot of them talk that shit. When Mike Vick got picked up by the Eagles, a lot of them talk that shit. It was like a solid 4 of them Bama's outside.
But he did his time, though. He did jail time.
But the reality was, when he got signed by the Eagles, they were outraged. Like, well, I can't believe he's a murderer and whatever. He's a felon. And if you bring him here, we're not going to do this, and this. And maybe like 3 of them joints didn't cop their season tickets. That season went on. Life went on. Them Bama's was still at them games. Mad as shit afterwards. They might have booed him, but they was booing him from the link. So let's be real. Like, I don't really feel like they're really going to do it, but they're willing to make that threat, and that threat is being taken seriously. So they're willing to cater to them. Mm-hmm. Us.
Winning cares that if he gets out there, let's just say somebody does sign Kaepernick, they're going to be mad, they're not going to do this, they're not going to do that, whatever. And he gets out there and he starts winning games, they're going to be like, well, I don't agree with what he did, but
these tickets, they're going to the game.
Right. And guess what? You know what's going to happen? Somebody else going to do something wherever. Mm-hmm.
And it's going to take the attention.
It's going to take the attention off him. Mm-hmm. But
all you got to do is get him back in the game. Realistically, get him back in the game. You really won't have the controversy that you think you're going to have, but they're not willing to take the gamble, and it's really not.
It's that risk versus reward.
But it's not even that
risk
though.
Is not nearly what they anticipated to be. If we're being honest,
I don't think that it's mainly that. I know that that's a factor in it, but I think that white supremacy, people thrive off that. White people literally survive off of that. And most of these owners are white. Most of these people who are in power at these, organizations or whatever, or what you call them, franchises, they are white. And a lot of them are white supremacists. Look at the dude, what was the dude? Donald Sterling, who was in the NBA. He was the Clippers owner. Yeah. And he loved, they love black people as long as they're, staying in their place. But as soon as they are at the level that they're at, or that they're saying anything, then they all of a sudden niggas. So a lot of them are white supremacists.
That speaks to that fear that we was talking about earlier that they have of us. So in order for them to try to secure themselves, they want to keep you beneath them.
Yeah, we got to put you in that box. We got to put you in a cage, and we're going to bring you out.
See, the reason why he got Donald Sterling, that whole thing, because it was the whole Magic Johnson thing. Well, you met somebody now who got just as much money as you, if not more.
Right.
And he ain't no idiot. Exactly. So you can't control him. Right.
Exactly.
So what's the first thing you want to do? You want to call him nigga?
Exactly.
Pretty much. Right.
So at what point, though? At what point will us as black people will be willing to sacrifice something at our leisure? Like, to sacrifice something that we do for our leisure, for like our dignity, like our self-worth. Like, we don't have to do that shit. If they don't really fuck with us, we don't have to fuck with them. We can make it so right now, temporarily, we don't fuck with them and we can boycott them. So for the long run, we can watch something that respects us.
The thing that sucks is to say, and it sounds crazy to say, but it's not going to happen until everybody do it. And it's almost like follow the leader, but you're going to have 10 people, like us 4 can sit here and decide, no matter how mad it hurts me in my heart, to say, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah.
But everybody who else outside these doors is going to follow?
That's true.
And that's one of our biggest issues in the Black community is that, you know what I'm saying, that unity that we really need in showing solidarity amongst each other. Like, you know what, hey, it's a little, you know, uncomfortable right now. Yeah, I'm making a sacrifice temporarily because I don't anticipate it being an ongoing thing.
Right.
But people can be really short-sighted, and that they're not thinking about the long term.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Like, that's the thing with us. Like, we're very like we never think about like the end goal. It's always about.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna do it for a little bit, but if I'm not seeing it in like a week or so, fuck it.
It kind of sucks there's some things that are outside of our control. Like, since we're talking about sports, there was once upon a time there was a Negro baseball league.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Imagine if that stuff was still in play. We so desperately wanted to be treated fairly and accepted by them that we were willing to give up something that we had established for ourselves to be a part of them. So imagine if the Negro Baseball League, or if we had our own basketball league, or if we had our own football league.
Because we kind of almost do.
We own 70%.
I mean, what is the NBA percentage? Like 98?
White people don't rule baseball. That's ruled by Hispanics. Black people rule football and basketball, which are two of the most watched sports in the United States.
Yeah.
Right. Baseball used to be it, and you know why it was it.
Right.
Because baseball was theirs.
Right.
But let's be clear, if you put lacrosse, hockey, fucking table tennis more in the Black community, like they're pushing football and basketball,
we the shit at everything.
We would dominate literally everything.
As soon as they figure out how to heat that pool up, we'll be in there.
We do water polo in too.
All that shit.
If we had them or not, we just don't have those things. It's 100, you know. Pop Warner football team.
We just excel in everything. Sports.
Do any schools in Prince George's County even have fucking lacrosse?
Not that I know of.
Roosevelt. Okay, and that's the most diverse.
Got everything.
That's the most diverse school in the county.
Honestly, Rose got everything, so I'm not surprised.
So yeah, and you know what? They probably said, "God damn it, we need fucking lacrosse."
Exactly.
They got lacrosse.
Exactly.
Because I mean, you go to there, you be like, you ever play? What the fuck is lacrosse? They don't even know what lacrosse is.
Pass me the basketball, bro.
Right. Pass me the rock.
Y'all chasing each other with sticks and shit.
Right.
Like, that's too coony for me.
Exactly.
So, like,
that's feel like a lynching or something.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's just because you can play basketball anywhere, and then football, you know, they want to see a bunch of niggas get concussions and hit the shit out of themselves.
They want you to sell tickets, but they want you to be quiet in the
do
process.
Because they're benefiting off of our genetics.
I'm telling you, look how much shit LeBron James get anytime he say anything remotely close to supporting Black people. They give him, LeBron, come on. What you want to,
like, he's a Black man, bro. What do you think? Like, he's raising Black sons. Like, that, come on, man.
So by that, is that why Michael Jordan's been getting so much heat for not saying anything for so many years?
Hell yeah. I don't think Black people should, and I know this is another thing. This is like the damn NFL. I don't think Black people should be wearing his shoes. Fuck Jordan. Jordan don't give a fuck about us.
Right.
He got so much heat that I feel like he was pressed into donating or giving that, what was it, like $2.5 million that he gave.
Well, yeah.
But the thing is, though, that's like going to that $2.5 million. Now, that's a lot of money to us.
It is.
To him,
it is.
That's like him going to McDonald's and spending
Yeah, but that ain't shit because these are people who have money to open up African-centered schools. This is money. These are people with money enough to really change things, like put more, things that are beneficial and healthy mentally and physically in Black communities, and they just donate to like a charity, which I don't believe in.
And then
charities.
they get to write it off anyway.
In taxes,
exactly. I don't believe in charities. First of all, I don't think that Black people should be like giving their money to charities. I think that Black people, because I should give other Black people opportunities to make money, because that's just, like they say, you can give a horse water or something, but what's the water? No, that's the wrong thing.
You talking about you can teach a man how to fish,
but till they equal a lifetime, or you can just give a fish. So don't keep giving Black people fish. I just fucked up that drink. I sound like George Bush in that.
Teach him how to fish. Stop giving him fish and teach him how to fish.
I had a George Bush moment. Come on, I'm not as dumb as Bush, y'all. Come on now. But anyway. But yes, we got to stop giving Black people fish. We have to teach them how to fish, because just giving them book bags in Chicago, just giving them, school supplies or whatever it is, if you're not giving them jobs, then when they run out of them school supplies and book bags, they're going to be back on the fucking street.
So you should go ahead and give them jobs and probably
because along that.
I mean, yeah, but don't just go and give shit.
Yeah, you're like, oh, we didn't give you, we didn't just back to school drive.
That's
and
temporary.
Like, then you got to struggle for the rest of the year. Like,
yeah.
But see, that's why I respect Diddy so much for opening up that school.
I do too.
It's like, that's some good shit that he did.
Yes.
And I don't know if Umar Johnson's school opened up.
It hasn't opened yet. He's still, and that's the thing. People like him, it take them for like the longest to get money. When you have people like Michael Jordan out here,
That's right. Jordan could literally open up a community,
or he could give Umar the money,
right?
And you ain't got to tell them that you ain't got to be in the tabloids or whatever. Like, oh, Jordan did this. You could do it on a humble, just
see that
under the table.
Yeah, but that's our fault though, because we look at him and we assume that he should feel that way, talking about Jordan.
Right, yeah.
We assume that he should feel that way. We assume that these are the things that he should do. Which, again, and I'm one of those people, I feel like you should, bro.
Right.
But
that may not be his.
If all black people gave $5, did we just match what Jordan could do?
That's so true.
So
that is so true.
We all in the same boat.
We all should be accountable as well. We should all be donating to like a Umar Johnson or somebody who's trying to do something to really make an impact in the black community, and stop giving to charities or getting dressed to go to these National Black Caucus and all of this bullshit when you can, that doesn't make a difference when you can actually do things that really affect change. And like you said, pooling our money together, and we can't just look at Jordan. We have to do it ourselves. That's really,
in the overall scheme of things, that 5 is like some super short shit, if we be honest.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you think about how many people you interact with on social media on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If everyone who follows me donated $5, you know what I'm saying? Bam, you got some bread right there. And it's like, we could keep that thing going. So it's us too, because I understand. I'm not, I agree. Like Jordan, like, like in a situation like that, like, bro, come on, man. You gotta get back to your community. However, I can also understand that some people's objective is not that.
Because he
some
might
people get in there, they want to get all their bread and get out and do their thing, and they don't necessarily want to, aren't looking to be that or do that. And I mean, it's as wild as it sounds. It's like, I can't. That's your business if that's how you really feel. But it's like, come on, man, like.
At the same time, we shouldn't be supporting you standing outside in line for your goddamn shoes.
That's also on us, though.
Yeah, that's
also on us, though, because I don't stand in line for J's.
Hell no, I'm not standing in line for J's.
But I don't stand in line for them. I'm not getting no tickets. I'm not doing all of that. No. If I could get them, I could get them if I want them. I'm not a big sneaker fan
first of all,
anyway.
Stop standing outside to spend money. I could see if some shit was free.
I don't stand in line to get food. I'm not gonna stand in line to get no fucking shoes, yo.
Fuck no. That's really that's us though. We have to be. It's all in the interest of. We have to get rid of that mentality though. Yeah. It's all in the interest of us trying to stunt on this person. Keep up with the Joneses and all that other shit. When realistically,
that's enough of that shit.
Right. That's on us. We gotta stop doing that shit though. For real. Whether it's joy, it don't matter what it is. Like we have to stop feeling like we have to have all these things that we spend so much money on that cost.
Because that's really with money, don't give a fuck about that stuff. Go ahead, Sean.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like we don't have any. We just have stuff.
Yeah.
Disposable things. We don't have like properties. We don't have a lot of businesses.
Right.
Since you start to get into financial literacy, and so many of us are misinformed because you like that's my issue with school. You wanna teach me about. This, that, on the phone. I don't know about taxes.
But I don't know how to fucking.
I don't know about taxes.
Right.
I don't know about liquid assets. I don't know about interest. I don't know about money market accounts. Or I don't know about none of this.
Equity, nothing. But I know
I can take this protractor and draw the shit out.
I know that A squared plus B squared equals C squared like shit. But I don't know the stuff that really matters.
But the thing is, how many of our parents know that stuff, or they had to learn it on the fly?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Like, but see, that's the thing. Like, I think the schools, like, I took back at Duval, I took a business math class, but that was just on the whim because I was interested in like the whole business aspect.
Yeah,
a lot of schools don't even offer that.
Right, but see, that's the thing. I learned about like at that time, like just like FICA and all that shit, like taxes, how to write a check,
credit.
See, they do away with a lot of those courses that are
elective.
People don't even know. That's what I'm saying.
That teach you trade and things like that. Like we talked about that before in previous shows. Like a lot of those things that will get you position to have a better understanding when it comes to adulting and things, the things that we need to be able to say, hey, you know what, we can boycott this, we can pull our money from that. We don't have that.
Right.
They take a lot of that away from us.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like that class, like in retrospect, that class should actually be like
mandatory.
mandatory.
Part of the
No,
criteria.
right, but for seniors, because that's when you need it the most. When you're about to leave high school, you need to know how to write a check. You need to know how much percentage is getting taken out of your checks for X, Y, and Z.
Tax brackets, all
right.
that you need to understand.
Who actually does trigonometry in their everyday life?
That's what I'm saying. Unless you're going into that.
If you're going into that field, fine.
Yes.
Right.
There's people out here who literally don't know shit about finance.
Right.
Yes.
That's important.
Right, but you're teaching me calculus. I don't care about signs and
But you don't teach about compound interest, delayed gratification, and investing.
Like, people don't even understand how that stuff works, and then they go buy a car and they figure, well, I'm going to calculate this, and they don't realize how the interest compounds,
how your $200 car costs you $450 a month.
Okay,
you don't know how that.
Because
they don't know how to
afford it. Or for the first year, you're not even paying on your car note.
You're really paying most of the interest. Exactly. You put a tiny pension to that principal, and you don't get it, and you don't understand how this works because we don't learn things like this. You're teaching us a bunch of shit that does not matter.
So we have to start in the negative. That's the thing. Other people get to start, on 5. We get to start at -2 because we all have to not only start from 0, but to fuck up before we actually even learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a lot of unlearning and then learning again.
Right.
Yeah.
Because then you get so set in the ways of like how you come up, and a lot of our parents aren't financially literate, and it's like you said, like they're learning on the fly. They're learning after they had kids. Okay, we gotta.
I talk to my parents about this shit. Like I sit and me and my mom have these conversations, and she like looking at me like I got 2 heads. I'm like, you've been fucking working for 20-something years, and like what are you doing with all this money? You supposed to. Right. What are you gonna leave for us?
Yes.
The bigger question is, now that I'm a dad, I had to think about what am I doing for my daughter?
Exactly. And that's exactly the position I'm in right now. It's just like, you know what, I don't want, because like when we talked about school on other episodes, it's like I had to pay for myself to go to school. I put myself to school through my money, through my grants, through my loans, or whatever. I don't want my kids, whether they choose to go to college, which, you know what I'm saying, whichever path they're going to choose, I don't want them to start out like that. I want to give them a better, each generation is supposed to improve, but it's like we can't get that generational flow going if we don't start instilling some of that into ourselves now and into our kids, so that it can be passed on to future generations, so that we can do these kinds of things. Like we want to boycott stuff, we want to protest stuff, and we so stuck.
We so misinformed. Like we'll pay $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 for an apartment, but then I'm gonna walk out of this apartment with some lubes on my feet, with a Gucci polo on. So I got on $1,500. That could have been a down payment on something. If I'm a first time home buyer, that could be a down payment on a house that I'm walking. But you know what? I'm gonna stay in this apartment for 15 years, and when I leave, I can't take not a doorknob out this bitch when I go.
Exactly.
So I'm paying something off. That's a loan that somebody got.
Deposit back depending on how much wear and tear you to put on that thing.
That's I'm paying off a loan for somebody else who owns this apartment.
Right.
Me and all other.
And it's probably been long since paid off too. So
that's
it's
basically one of them kids that's down there marching this shit. I just paid for that for his family.
Basically, and then you leave and you have nothing to show for it.
Nothing.
You've invested all this and nothing to show for it.
So what is getting back to the whole NFL thing? What are some solutions? Like because we have to get to the solutions. What are some things that we can do to, I guess, not fully support them? Because like I said, I know people not going to give up football, but what can we do to, I guess, to minimize what we contribute to their ratings, their advertisement? Because we should look into who are the main advertisers of the NFL. If the players don't step up, what do we do next? Because we have to be a couple steps ahead.
Nike makes the uniforms.
Okay.
So if people quit buying merchandise,
that could be one. There. You start with the jerseys by itself.
Okay.
You gotta pull that black dollar out. Like that's what it is. And whatever it is, whatever avenue that funds the NFL, that promotes the NFL, anything remotely related to that, you gotta pull your black dollar up out of it.
Right. So what about also
let's clarify though, it's not going to be all. Because everybody is not going to.
Well, it's just like recycling, right? So we recycle at my house. I'm sure that not everybody recycles, but
you do your
at
part.
the end of the year, you never know how much that can be, or how much that
what sort of impact that has.
Yeah, well, like what that accumulated to be.
He had a valid point. Even if just 10% of black people just quit buying jerseys, Nike would see it in there. They would say, well, we're down in sales this year.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
What's going on?
Yes, and even if every Sunday people hashtag
right, you got to keep putting it on that social media so that it's
consistency.
Well, how about this? Don't watch every game. Only watch the games that you really like your team. Like, because I know some people. I know some people who sit there and just have it on. You know, the soundtrack of your Sunday. You know, you're not even really watching it. It's just
NFL
on.
Sunday
Click that shit off. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, do something. Whatever you can contribute. Whatever you can contribute. If you can watch some games on the Fire Stick, you know. If you can watch some games on the Fire Stick, do that. If you can avoid watching a live game, do that. You know, and there are smaller things that you can do. You don't have to just go cold turkey because, even though we should, I know. And for those of you who can, like myself, I can go cold turkey because I could live without football.
I don't know personally. The people around you, pump them up like you pump them up about anything else. Like, hey man, let's stand for something for once, and let's be consistent with it, because that consistency is where you get, you know, that. I don't want to say reputation, but it's like that's when you build that up. Like, we're not pump faking, we're dead ass. Like, this is what we're going to do, and we back it up with our actions, and we continue to do so until you start to see that change. Because when you don't, and you either don't do it, or you huffing, you puffing, you don't, still don't do it. Right. It's like all we just end up looking like is flakes, and they don't take it serious. We don't get any results, and when you start to see it, it's like working out. Yeah. You have to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And you start to see results, and that's when you start to get motivated to keep it going. Mm-hmm. But it's like when you work out for a week, you're like, where are my abs? You're like, man, fuck this shit. I'm going to Chipotle. I'm going to Pizza Hut. So it's like you have to keep going and understand we're not going to get our abs right away. Right. But it takes some time. But when we start to see that and we start to feel that burn and you know it's coming, you start to see those results and you keep pushing forward.
I agree. Any other advice that we can give so we can like get together as a collective to make something happen?
I would say if it starts now, by the time the Super Bowl comes and nobody's watching that shit, that's gonna cut deep.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think it would get that far, to be honest. But we gotta appeal to these players too. Try to appeal to them. So
what happens if Kaepernick gets signed by somebody? Do people start watching again?
Good question.
Do we support again? Or do we continue to not?
It depends. It depends on how.
Or do we just support Kaepernick and push that message? Like
everybody just watches whatever team he's on, right? Like, just watches his game.
Or if he does get signed, that we make a conscious effort to make his jersey the highest selling jersey.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was though at one point when he was going through the kneeling process.
Oh, yeah. Right. Absolutely.
I bought one, but that's a very good question, Mike. And I would say to that, if it depends on how they treat him when he comes back. Like if they say, you come back, but only if you sign a thing that says you have to stand for the national anthem and you have to silence your voice, then we're going to act accordingly. But if they say, you know what, we're going to sign him, we're going to do whatever we can because this is unfair, he didn't break any rules or whatever, then, we can let up off of it and we can just continue to
right, but it goes to show them, like, hey, you felt that burn. Right. You didn't get that support, and if you keep playing with us, we're going to keep doing it.
Right, so basically, you just support Kaepernick, if they sign him and they treat him accordingly, then we can support fully.
Yeah, because you have to send that message that when you do this and it's wrong and you can't just be treating folks like this, when you do that, hey, look, we can fall back from this. It can be done. Yep. It shows that we can do it, and then you have to be willing to do it when it's necessary.
Yeah. I think it starts with the players first. So
absolutely.
Shout out to all the players, all the black players. I just really need y'all to do something as far as
y'all white guys can step in too.
Absolutely.
I mean, the white guys, y'all can step in if y'all want to, but we can't expect them to help us out of our own shit, especially if we make up 70% of the NFL. They can help if they want, but we're not going to hold them accountable because guess what? White people look out for white people. Their shit is not broken. We have to look out for black people. We are really I'm really holding mostly accountable black people.
The black players, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because the white ones ain't being mistreated.
Especially the superstars. Especially the ones, because they're the ones that have the least
I honestly look at it like
factor.
If you elite, if you one of those guys, I don't care if you black or white. If somebody like Peyton Manning came out and said it,
Oh, right.
If they're own, but other white players will support them, so they good.
Exactly, and it's like right is right, wrong is wrong.
I
know it's wrong. Step in. It don't. You don't have to be black to support.
I agree. I'm just not holding them accountable.
Yeah, I wouldn't hold them accountable, but it would be nice for you to just acknowledge the fact that it's wrong what's happening, and for you to want to support the cause that would correct that.
Unless you don't mind living in a system of white supremacy and letting it flourish. I mean,
right? Then I wouldn't expect you to do that at all. But
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I get why. I'm not saying that it's cool, but it's almost like when the tsunami happened in Japan, we watching it, we like, oh damn. I don't live in Japan. I feel bad for them, but there's a certain feeling that I don't have to that because and that's how they looking at us. Mm-hmm. And we right here at home with them.
There's a lady, I forgot her name.
We got to wrap up, y'all. But go ahead.
Oh yeah, there's a lady, I forgot her name, but she was teaching a class. She's an older lady. I think her name was like Jen or something. But she asked her class, you know what's going on with black people, right? How would you feel if it were happening to you, or would you?
Oh yeah.
I forgot her name.
I know who you talking about.
She did that experiment with the eyes.
Yeah.
You talking about her?
Yeah. What she said, y'all sit over here, y'all sit over there, and then the white people
walked out.
Yeah,
the girl too much for her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, her name is Janice something.
Yeah, I forgot her name. She's amazing, but
that's what's up. I mean, I mean, I give her props for understanding it, but that's cool. But I really just
we need more of us. But it's good that she actually brought that
That's what makes it the most impactful, though, when it is.
Janice Dick. Yeah. No, that's not her. No, go ahead.
Hell no.
That's what makes it the most impactful, though, when it's us and when we are all willing to
because everybody's unified except for us. Everyone else is unified.
Right, but you know what? That's them. That picked us apart that way and pit us against each other.
And
created colorism.
I was about to say,
they created colorism with us, with the house niggas and the field.
Well, yeah, we didn't create that.
Right, we didn't create that. They created that within us to pit us against each other, to pit the black women against the black men, to pit the light skins against the dark skins.
Exactly.
It's always been,
and we've been stuck in
that internal chaos that's been constructed by them for us because they don't want us to unite and flourish and show solidarity with one another. They want us to be at each other's throats because as long as we're doing that, we're breaking apart our own race. So that's what they always want.
We done made people rich who don't care about us. Talking about white and black.
Right.
The Jews and the record labels are rich because of us in these stupid ass songs we're talking about that we have out. Spend a check and get it right back. That's not even a good message to send to the kids.
That's because we not the ones spending the check and getting it right back.
We the ones
giving the check. You're getting it right back. We spend the check, you get it right back.
Basically.
But let's wrap up, y'all. Those were our solutions for the NFL situation. And, tweet us, Instagram us, let us know what you think. But that's all for today's show on the Brace Show Live.